You know, this particular movie that I'm going to be talking about with you, everybody, I just can't help but smile whenever I just watch this movie. Because this is one of those films where it is a popcorn Friday or Saturday night film. I remember when Blockbuster used to be around. You can go to Blockbuster and you can rent how many upon dozens of pictures that have been released from whatever decade if it was. Most of the films that I saw that were in my Blockbuster were from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. And during the 2000s, there was a lot of releases that were both good, bad, guilty pleasure, underappreciated, overappreciated, you name it. Oscar award winning. But Blockbuster was that particular store that almost every single genre was not only in alphabetical order, but was very neatly organized. There was a few sections where it was family and kids, or some sort of action, adventure, horror, whatever it was. But when I was a kid, I always was in the family slash kids where there was a bunch of animated films, Disney stuff, and all other films. And knowing me and my love for films from the 1980s, for some reason, this particular movie always stood out to me in terms of something about that was just so much fun that I enjoyed. Obviously, knowing me, I played in the film because I'm the fucking Rick Moranis lookalike. But the thing is that what I was admired by was the fact that this film was silly and it was goofy. But there was something very original and ingenious about it because you got this mad scientist, this brainiac named Wayne Szalinski. He's got his two kids, he's got Amy and he's got Nick. Obviously, Nick looks up to his father and all that. But Wayne ends up inventing this machine, this laser machine that's supposed to be revolutionary of shrinking items. At first, it didn't work. It was just blowing shit up. But after a little accident where the two boys next door, whose names are Ron and Russell. You want to know what's crazy? Russell is the youngest, and he is outgoing and very energetic. Then there is Russell, who is the one that's very... No, Russell is the one who's energetic, and then there's Ronald, who's the one that's usually quiet. But in this case, it's vice versa. Russell is the one who's quiet, and Ron is the one that's very energetic. If you don't know what I'm referencing, if anybody who's familiar with the band known as Sparks Brothers, or Sparks, you would understand exactly what I mean. So it's funny to me that the two boys are named after the brothers of the Sparks. But anyways, continuing on. After a little accident that happens where the baseball was shot into the window, the machine starts shrinking shit. All the furniture is gone, the computer's gone, everything has practically disappeared. So once Nick and Ronald went up to the attic to retrieve the baseball, they ended up getting shrunk. Russell and Amy get together to find their brothers have been shrunk, and then all of a sudden, once Wayne Szalinski sees that his machine is all broken and fucked up, he starts destroying it, swept his kids into the trash bag. Once they're in the backyard, it is nothing more but an adventure from going from point A to point B, trying to get to the house to get rearranged back to normal size. So, that's the story right there for this film. And the thing is that there ended up being two sequels to this movie. One was known as Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, where that was a sequel to this film that was pretty fucking terrible. Then there was the third film, which was known as Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. And then there's Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves Again, or whatever the fuck it was called. I've seen the other two movies. Not good. I didn't like them at all. I thought the premise overstayed its welcome with those two movies. But this one, though, this is the fucking OG that you should stick with when it comes to a premise like this. Because not only was it so original, but it was so much fun. It had personalities. Even though besides Rick Moranis, the personalities in this film, they were all different and stood out from one another as different traits. The teenagers, the young kids, one who's action-adventure, then the nerdy, then I guess you can say that the one boy was athletic. Then you had the typical teen girl who liked going to the mall, shopping with the friends and stuff. All of them had their own personalities, and I really admired that about the film. So, personalities, you got a very nice, intriguing concept. There was a nice stop motion picture where they were interacting with that fucking ant, and obviously everyone gets sad when what happens to the ant because it was a battle between a fucking scorpion and the ant, and then the ant ended up meeting his unfortunate demise, which was pretty sad. The scene where they're fucking meeting with the goddamn oatmeal cookie and having a nice little snack. The scene where they're fucking flying on the goddamn bee. Nice little presentation with that. The lawnmower scene where the fucking boys get caught up, shot in the pollen. Then towards the very end where Nick almost got ate. There was a lot of very creative things with this movie, and like I said, I can't help but give so much credit to it because each scene, not only was it different from one another, but it was also continuation for the story itself. Obviously, Rick Moranis. I love the guy. I love the guy. A lot of the movies that he's played in have been a lot of silly ones. I mean, we all know about Spaceballs, my fucking biopic, Little Shop of Horrors, the Flintstones, Ghostbusters, stuff like that. He's playing a lot of goofy films. Big Bully. But this is another one of those goofy roles to where he just fit because he had the personality, he had the look for it, and you just can't help but smile whenever you see someone like Rick Moranis on the screen. But the film itself, it's nothing to take serious at all. It's a cute little film. The premise itself is fun. It's enjoyable. It's creative as can be. It's got personalities that are different from their own that represents that 80s visage. And I can't help but, like I said, from back then, I had fun watching this movie. To this very day, I still have a lot of fun. Like I said, nothing to really go ups and heights and praise about. This is one of those movies that I wanted to come on here, have a little reminiscence to those childhood memories, have a little talk with you all about it, and just say my likings about it and just reflect a little memory. So, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was a 3.5 out of 5 in terms of giving it a proper rating. But the entertainment value and that warmth that it has with me, it always will live on. And the thing is, another thing that I loved about the film is the fact that I already said the personalities, the story, but this is one of those films that kind of opened my mind to that there's a whole world out there of originality with films. Even if it was something silly that's for a popcorn film or something that's just for entertainment that Disney can come up with, especially with like this. It really shows that there is a lot of originality out there. It doesn't have to be kids or family films or animation or anything. Originality is out there in the world of film, and this is one of those movies that kind of opened my mind up to that particular style of having something original, fresh, and exciting. And by the way, just to put this out there, this is actually a re-review of this film that I've done a long time ago, which I did delete, but here it is again in a much more classical, whatever it is, a much more retro setting. So, folks, that's going to have to do with my little talk on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Let me know down below your thoughts about this particular film. And let me know down below some of the movies you liked watching and renting from Blockbuster. So that being said, folks, ciao for now.